Welcome to Conversations with a Couple of Crones. We invite you to join us as we gather around our hearth and talk about our journeys with the Gene Keys and our personal transformations. Hello, my friends. I am known as the Artistic Mystic on YouTube, but today I have a different hat. I am part of a dynamic duo. We have a website, A Cauldron of Crones. And this is Lizzie Dewey. I'm Megan Dinehard.
Hello.
And today marks the very first day that we are public on YouTube.
Wow.
It is also our second season. You can find our whole first season on our website. But today, season 2, episode 1. And for all of you newcomers, welcome. And the way we start our podcasts is to tune into ourselves and to ask ourselves the question, where am I now, right now? And I'm going to let Lizzie do that first today.
Thank you, Megan. And hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. Where am I today? So I'm right at the end of a 2-week break from my day job, which has nothing to do with Crohn's. And I've been having a very relaxing Christmas and New Year break from work. And there's been a real energy shift because during that 2-week period, we finished our year-long devoted program that we were doing, going through all of our golden path. And it ended on very kind of fiery energy for me because, you know, we move into our brand and we're talking about the pathway of service. And it's very much about taking all of that inner work that we had been doing for the year out into the world, which of course you and I have already been doing, Megan, because we've been working on our website and we've been making these podcasts. But there was I felt a real shift happen just in the last few days of stepping away from that sort of fiery outward energy to more looking inward, because I'm preparing myself now to start right at the beginning of my golden path again, because we are both going to do that starting next week with Richard Rudd and the Gene Keys. We're both starting the Sage's journey. So today I've actually just been kind of trying to ground myself back into that energy and just maybe like quieten down some of the fiery energy, because even though it's been a really restful couple of weeks from work, I've really rested my body, I've really relaxed. I've also been very creative. I've been doing a lot of writing and I've been doing a lot of exploration of, you know, like my whole chart, looking back over the whole year. So there's been a lot going on, even though it's been quiet and I've been resting. So this feels really good, actually. This feels like a really good start point for the year for me. This feels like the beginning of a new chapter. And it's great that it's the first episode of our season 2. Who'd have thought we'd get to season 2? I was amazed when we even managed to do one podcast because I was so nervous about doing it beforehand. So yeah, I'm feeling full of the joys of new beginnings and excited for what the next year is going to bring. What about you? Where are you, Megan?
Well, I have to say, I am still feeling kind of like a squishy caterpillar in its cocoon. I finished my 40-day journey on Christmas Day, and I wouldn't say there was an exact completion, because what that 40-day journey taught me is that everything that I was doing in the 40-day journey wanted to keep continuing. So that connection, that sacred connection, wants to keep being there for me. And then we finished Devoted. And it's like, once again, there was a sense of things ending in a completion of that particular container, but we're about to go on the journey again in the Sage's Golden Retreat. And we are also going to continue working with Haley later in the year. And the fact of the matter is, this inner work, this inner journey is so much a part of me that it's not going to stop. You and I still talk every frickin' day. And when we talk, we're not talking about, oh, I just planted seeds for my garden, or, oh, I just made a new art journal page. It's, wow, today I had a new insight on conflict. And conflict is the shadow for my, pearl. And then I go into a whole thing about this new idea of what conflict means in my life, right? So we're not stopping. And yet, I also do feel like there's something still unformed, still wanting to be birthed. And I don't know how long this is gonna take. I don't know if this will all of a sudden resolve itself in another couple of weeks. And once the Sage's journey, I'll be a new butterfly coming out of that cocoon, or a silk, whatever kind of moth there might be, or even a dragonfly molting. I don't know. I don't know what's coming from this, or it could be a whole other year that I'm going to be like this. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's where I'm
Yeah,
at, just sort of
it's
somewhere in the mushy
interesting.
middle.
It's interesting. I had a really lovely message from one of our fellow devoted travelers just about an hour before coming on to record this podcast from Trina. And Trina, she's a bit like me in that she likes homework. She's a bit of a gold star girl. So she liked that aspect of Devoted,
Mm.
where we had the workbook and we had all the prompts and the questions, because Haley is just such a genius at giving you prompts
Yes.
around, the sphere or the gene key or whatever. And she had started to say how she had felt like it was a bit unfinished
Mm.
because we didn't get homework at the end. We didn't get
Oh,
like a wrapping up workbook. And as I was listening to the message, I was thinking, yeah, I kind of got that too. And then it was almost like I could hear a penny drop for her. And she said, ah, but maybe that was the point. Maybe the point is it isn't the end. The work never stops. There
oh,
isn't going to be a final, you know, dissertation that you have to do at the end of it,
yeah.
because the work never stops. And I think that's it. It's like, you know, like you said, we talk every day, and the work just continues. You just go a little bit deeper. And that's what it feels like with the Sage's journey. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like, it's a new chapter. We're starting something new. And for me, it's the first time I've done a retreat with the Gene Keys organization themselves and with
Mhm.
Richard, which I'm really excited about. But it just feels like a continuation. It's like the next, it's that spiral path that we've talked about before. Like, yeah, we might be back at the beginning, but we've gone a bit deeper.
Yeah.
And it's not like this is a whole new work that we're going to be doing. This is building on the work that we've done before, just like Devoted built on the work that we'd done one-to-one with Haley. So I
Yes.
think, yeah,
Yeah.
it just keeps on going. And maybe we stay in that cocoon of smooshiness for the rest of our lives.
Well, that's a thought
And
too. That's an interesting thought too. Yeah.
yeah,
And you know what's
so
lovely about it, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, is that in the past, this would have been a scary place to be because it is all messy and it is smushy and it's somewhat chaotic. And I'm not sure who I am or where I am or what I'm even doing. And all of it's okay. It's okay
yeah,
that I feel that way.
yeah,
Absolutely okay. In fact, I should probably feel that way. I just spent a whole year intensely doing this. I mean, the first time around when we did the Golden Path one on one with Haley, I took longer than a year
yeah,
doing
me
it.
too. Yeah,
We even did an activation sequence in the middle of it again,
Yeah.
right? In a group container. So it took us a lot longer. This last year, we sped through that thing for a whole
Yeah.
year. So it would not surprise me to, I would guess that most people in our from our group are feeling a little like their legs are a little shaky.
Yeah. Yeah.
This ride has been fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it sounds like such a huge commitment to make. And oh my God, are you really going to do that for a whole year? But like you said, we did so much
Yeah,
and it just flew, even though it felt like we stretched time because we fitted a lot in,
yeah,
it also flew by.
it did.
And
Yeah,
it's a lot to take in. Um, and now we're going back to the beginning, but that actually feels really right for me. And especially because the Sage's journey is that much
much
slower
slower.
and feels like it's going
Yeah,
to be much more contemplative because it was intense.
yeah,
Devoted was
yeah, it
intense.
was.
It was
Yeah,
retreats and integration calls every fortnight.
yeah,
It was all the Voxers. It was every single day.
yeah.
There was something. Um, and this is going to
So
be
are
slow.
you thinking of the sage's journey being an integration, possibly? I'm wondering if maybe that will,
Yeah.
that will come forward for me as an almost an integration
Yeah. Which
to,
is interesting because when I went into Devoted, that was one of the things that I said to Haley. I want Devoted to be the integration of all the work I've done in Ignite Your Life, on one. But actually, because we went so deep
yeah,
and we found out, well, for me, I mean, I found out so much more about the Gene Key spheres,
yeah,
the lines, the
yeah,
pathways that I didn't access when I was just learning about the gene keys that are in my chart first time round. That even though there was a lot of integration, there was an awful lot of new stuff.
yeah,
There was a
yeah,
lot of new breakthrough for
yeah.
me as well. So yeah, I'm feeling
Yeah.
integration is key this
And
year.
I'm totally open to any of the new stuff that Richard's bringing forward.
Yeah,
So it can be both. It can be both new. And in fact, that's what makes it almost like play because
yeah,
you get that new stuff, which reinvigorates you, but at the same time, you're really grounding in, which is that integration, really bringing in your whole chart starts being alive for you instead of, I'm not just in my life's work, I'm in my life's work, but oh, look at that. There's a reflection of
yeah,
that attraction sphere in there, whatever. But
yeah.
anyway,
Yeah,
I
I'm excited
suppose,
about that part of it.
I know, it'll be fun. I suppose we should get to our subject of the day.
Okay, so we thought a good thing to start the year off and start our season two would be looking at like setting the energy for
Yes.
2026. And one of the things that you and I have both been doing for quite some time is at the beginning of the year, or for you, usually at the end of the previous year, round about your birthday in November, looking at words that are going to like almost hold our energy and hold our intention for the year ahead. I kind of feel a bit though, because we're going into this 16-month program with the Sage's Journey, that these words are not just for 2026. Yes, they're
I,
setting the tone for
mhm.
that, but they're actually setting the tone for this journey that
I'm
I'm
thinking
on.
the same thing.
Yeah.
I was wondering that too. Yeah.
Now it may be that other words will come in,
Hmm.
but we're going to start off with these are the words and just talk about why we chose the words
Yeah.
that we chose. Um, so shall I start us off with
Sure. Why
my
don't you
my
go
first
for
word?
it?
Okay, so I was I was asking myself, what is it that I want to bring into my life in this coming year? And my first word is stillness. Now, it actually has morphed into stillness. It started out as calm. And that was because when we were in our culture gene key, which for me is Jinky 25, I had my first experience of feeling like one of the dream arc animals. So the dream arc is the sort of companion teaching, would you call it, to the
Sure.
gene keys. Um, and I've been becoming more conscious of the dream arc animals for my gene keys as I've been traveling through Devoted, thanks to that beautiful oracle deck that you made me. But it felt like salmon, which is the fear key for gene key 25, just literally leapt into my consciousness when we were doing that. And the thing about salmon is that it, even though salmon the fish,
Yes.
they'll travel hundreds, thousands of miles upstream, up waterfalls to get to their spawning ground. They will also, whenever they see a calm, quiet pool, they'll kind of slide on into it and they will rest. And when that came, when that really dropped in for me, I realized that even though I've been becoming more and more conscious, especially this last year of being in Devoted, of bringing the pauses into my day, and I've brought so many more pauses into my day, and I've gotten so good at harvesting pauses. I I'm not deliberately doing it enough.
Ah,
And I realized that I need more of that. I need more calm, quiet time. And for me, stillness is the precursor to rest, and it's the precursor to that calm that I want to bring to my nervous system and to my body and to my mind, to just settle me, to just let myself be. And I do have dynamism as a gift in my life's work. And I've come to realize that I actually am quite a dynamic person. I'm always doing stuff, and I just don't give myself enough stillness. So my first word is stillness, and that is what I want to really set the tone for this coming year, this coming 16 months of of being still and just allowing
yeah,
things to come up for me. Do you know what I mean?
I do. That sounds so good. So good for
Yeah.
you too.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, you wished it for me as your New Year's resolution was be that I would rest more. So I'm hoping that with having this attitude of stillness, that I
Yeah.
will remember to rest more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking here we're talking words. I know there is a big practice for a lot of people to pick one word for the year. And
Yeah.
there are even programs about it, artistic programs about it, your one word for the year and all these different things. And I did that for quite a few years, just one word. And then last year, all of a sudden, four words came in. And they did for you as
Makes
well.
sense.
Four words came in. So this year I thought, I don't know, what am I doing? One word, two words? So I thought maybe it was just two words. The first word kind of, the other thing that people talk about is, does the word choose you or do you choose the word? It sounds like the salmon chose you. You chose the
Yes.
word.
Yeah.
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 This one I think chose me. And we were in, what were we in? Was it the closing ceremony or no, we were in one of our last Zoom calls for Devoted. And I was just watching Debbie, one of our beautiful devotees. And Debbie has Gene Key 23 as her life's work. And then I'm also working with Samantha with EFT, and she has 23 as her life's work. And
Oh,
23 is simplicity. And I'm just watching Debbie at the end of this year being so present and talking about all the shifts that have happened for her. And there's this just this beautiful essence about her. And I thought, I want that. I want that. And all of a sudden I went, oh, my word is simplicity, because that's the gift of Gene Key 23. So I think the other, and of course, ever since it chose me, or we chose each other, it's been unfolding why maybe I need that. And one of the things that Richard talks about as we move more and more into our own charts and into our own beings and into our own more elevated gifts is your life gets simpler. So I want to
yeah.
actually call that in. I want my life, and if anyone were to look at me, my life looks simple. That doesn't mean the inner space is simple, right? That doesn't mean that my housekeeping is simple. It doesn't mean that even my relationships are simple. I don't know. Simplicity, though, and the idea behind the because a gene key is coming with this word, that 23. And the that also comes with a shadow, which is complexity. So where
Mm.
am I making my life complex? Right. And he talks, I was listening to one of his YouTube videos, and he was talking about complexity as being the frequency of forgetting, and it's forgetting what is essential.
Ah,
So simplicity would be making your life a handmade life, and this is part of the 23 as well, a handmade life where it is built with what is essential to me. So that's as far as I understand 23 at the moment, and the energy that I'll be bringing with that word. So yeah,
oh,
that's that was
ah,
the first one
that's,
that came to me.
that's lovely. Do you know what I thought of there as you were talking? That that William Morris quote, which I just absolutely love, where he says, you know, have nothing in your home that you don't know to be useful or believe to be beautiful or feel to be beautiful. And
Yes.
that's kind of what that energy of
Yes.
simplicity is like that, isn't it?
It is.
You
I
know,
think that's right.
you're curating handmade life that, you know, you have everything, it meets your needs, you have
Yes.
everything you need, but you don't have all the excess.
Yes. Yes.
But you do have things that uplift you because they are what you think are beautiful,
Yes.
you know. So
Yes,
yeah,
that's beautiful.
that is
And thank you for the inspiration for an art journal page around that quote. I'll go
uh
look for it.
yeah. It's and of course he was like the father of the English craft movement.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's and it's a great and it's what I think about a lot. You know, I mean, I try to live my life like that, especially when I look around and I'm looking at so much clutter and I'm thinking, I need to simplify. I need to get rid of the things that aren't essential and don't bring me joy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Ah, so my second word um, also came out of my Gene Key 25, my culture Gene Key. So I've got the shadow word, you know, the shadow rep or the dream arc fear key of the salmon represented with stillness. And my second word is actually the gift word for Gene Key 25, which is acceptance. And I knew, you know, nearly 3 years ago when I first downloaded my free Gene Key chart and didn't know anything about Gene Keys at all. And I saw this word acceptance in there and I knew it was going to be important because it's something that I have craved in my life, acceptance by others. but I also know that acceptance of myself is really, really important. And when we were actually working with our culture gene key, it was, I mean, I already knew how important it was for me, but it was almost like, I suppose it was a breakthrough. It was like I suddenly saw that acceptance is one of the most important gifts in my whole chart, and that it feeds into every other gift in my chart. And that loving self acceptance that Gene Key 25 brings is it's like it's part of my foundation. You know, it's part of the stable ground that I stand on, because if I can stay in that energy of accepting myself, then I'm on steady ground. But more than that, what I really saw this time round in Devoted was that it is acceptance of all that is. It's
Mm,
acceptance
mm,
of life as it is. And this was something that had been building all the way through the Venus sequence, you know, all the way through from, uh, you know, the pathway of Dharma, the pathway of karma, all the way through those keys in the center of our chart, um, that I have to accept all of life,
mm.
you know, as it is. And it's not, and it was a real light bulb moment for me, because it wasn't there was no resignation to it. You know, it wasn't
Yes.
oh well, just got to accept my fate. It wasn't like that at all. It was like this deep sigh of relief. When you accept life as it is, it becomes so much more simple. You know, that
Yes.
acceptance invites simplicity in, because
Yes.
it's like you're not,
Yes.
well, for me, I'm not fighting against the
Yes.
current anymore. I'm accepting what is, but with an open heart.
Yeah.
And then there's room, there's space, there's room for everything to come in.
Yeah.
And I'm safe to let everything come in. You know, I think safety is a big part of acceptance for
Acceptance.
me. Um, that I am safe to accept life as it is, and to see, you know, all the provocations and the struggles and the suffering that come up and have come up in my life as those gateways and those portals into growing. And that was, yeah, I think realizing that, as I say, was just such a big, oh,
Yeah.
just takes all the pressure off.
Yeah.
So yeah, acceptance is my second word.
What a great, great word. Wow. So after simplicity popped into my mind very quickly after that, probably within a day or two, the next word just said, I'm here. And it's presence. And I went, wait a minute, that's my evolution. That means my whole year I will be in that pathway of challenge, because the life's work, you know, I have strength and majesty there, and what the heck, force is my and then the evolution is how you meet how you meet challenge, and the evolution is the polarity to this. So there will and can be friction there all the time, unless you raise your frequency, and then there's a great partnership. So I'm going, but wait a minute, presence is not just the gift of my evolution, it's the city of my evolution. And so I thought, oh, great, good, okay. But if I can unlock that evolution, if I can unlock it with this presence, the world is my oyster. I mean, really, it's like, wow, I can come to every single challenge in my whole life with this beautiful um, energy of being. So presence is Gene Key 20, and Gene Key 20 moves from superficiality or the fear of missing out to self assurance to presence. So, the way I am thinking of presence to be able to actually face it for a year or 16 months or however long I'll be with it is, well, it'll be with me my whole life since it's in my chart. 2023
Yeah.
is not in my chart. This one's in my chart. So, to me, it's super focused self awareness is what presence is.
Right.
So, and you know what? I've gotten pretty good at freaking self awareness. So I think I can handle this presence. So the reason we start our podcasts with Where Am I Now is because of my Gene Key 20. It's something I ask myself every day. So it is already woven into my life. It's just now it wants a little more focus. So, and I'm thinking of these words as allies,
Yes.
allies to go through the year. And of course, you and I have also both picked dream arc animals to go with us, which we'll talk about at the end. But,
Yeah.
you know, this word is an ally, it's not an enemy. It's not, it may be a city and maybe it'll be a vision of, that's the way they talk about it in the dream arc, the vision birds, the vision of mythical presence is the crane. It, and so it could be, it will only be a vision all year. And that's okay too, you know.
Yeah.
But if every day I can sort of remember to be a little more present in my body with more and more and more self-awareness, because it's programming partner is all about being in the body. So you're bringing self-awareness into the body, and they're meeting on that pathway of challenge. So I think that's going to be the energy that wants to be born this year even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's not like I haven't been on this path. I have been. I've been working with this all along because it's in my chart, just like you've been working on
Yeah.
acceptance all along because it's in your chart. But it's almost like it just wants a little more of a spotlight put on it.
Yeah. And don't you think that simplicity and presence are
Yes,
such a perfect partnership? Like they're allies to each other as well,
they
because
are. Yes, go ahead. Yeah, they are
well, I was just
allies
going
to
to
each
say,
other.
the more simplicity you bring
Yes.
to your life, the more present you can be because you're getting rid of all that extraneous
Oh,
stuff,
yes.
so you can
Yes.
be more present with the things that actually matter.
Matter. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
they feel like they're a really good partnership.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. Sorry, you were going to say something
Well,
then. Are they?
I will say that when we get to the animals. But the thing I thought I was only going to have two words, right? And then you chose a third word.
Yeah.
Uh, and I was still with two words. So I will come back to what ended up happening for me after you do your third word.
Okay. So yeah, I also thought at first I was going to only use two words this year, this 16 months, because I did have four last in 2025, and it was a lot.
That
But
was
actually,
me
by the
too.
time I got to the end of the year, it was kind of like that fourth word, which was freedom, had been wrapped up in all the rest of the
Yeah.
work that I'd done anyway. So, um, but like I say, I thought, stillness and acceptance, that was good. But then this third word just popped out of me. It just kind of effervesced up, and it's creativity. Now, it's a bit like you just said with presence, because it's in your chart and because you ask yourself that question, where am I now, every single day? you've already got presence there, but you are bringing more focus to it. I Creativity is part of my life.
Yeah.
You know, I write every day. I take photographs. I make books. I live a creative life, but I want to bring more play in
Mm.
this year because when we had when we had gotten to our SQ Gene Key last year, which is where this our website, the Cauldron Crones, was born out of that SQ inner child playful energy. Um, I really realized how little play there has been in my life. And
Oh,
I love it. I love what we are doing. I love this idea. You know, we've created just, I mean, I love our website. I actually
yeah.
think it's like the best place on the internet because it's just so much fun, but it's also really deep. We do really deep work on there. Um, and it's the work. We're doing the inner work on our website, but we're doing it creatively. And there isn't, there isn't a gene key. There's no gift or city for creativity, but it feels to me it's like this thread that's woven through every single one of the gene keys. I think in all of the gene key audios that I've listened to, not just for my chart, but like all the ones for the pulse, at some point Richard will say something along the lines of, and you access this gift through creativity.
He does, doesn't he?
He
He says
brings
that a
it
lot.
in. Oh, it's like there isn't a gift or a city for trust, but trust comes into every single gene key. And I think
That's right.
and he says it over and over again, that that's how you access this deep inner work. It's
Yeah.
through creativity, it's through living creatively. And for so long, I wanted to be creative and thought I wasn't. I really thought I wasn't. I went all the way through my teens, my 20s, my 30s, thinking, oh, well, I got to be brainy, but I'm not creative and I'm not arty and I'm not artistic and I'm not this and I'm not. But actually, I live a creative life. And what really opened up to me, and you were instrumental in this, Megan, it wasn't just devoted and it wasn't just the the devotion I brought to doing the inner work over the last year. You really introduced this idea of play to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it really woke up in my SQ. And I remembered what a wildly imaginative child I was. You know, I had whole universes in my head because I was just making up games and play and imaginary worlds all the time. We didn't have a TV. I just was out ranging around the farm. I had this wild imagination and I was being creative all the time as a child. And I like it. I like this feeling of play. So I've decided, and I'm holding it lightly. I'm holding it in a playful way. It's not like I'm thinking, okay, so I have to be creative every single day because it's my word. It's one of my words for the year.
Yeah.
It's like I want it to be that playful thread that runs through all the work that I do.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, I get that every day with you. I get that every 2 weeks with you on the podcast. And, as I say, every day in the Voxer, because even though we do talk about all this really deep stuff and we talk about the inner work that we're doing, we laugh all the time as
That's right.
well. We have fun. Um, so creativity is my third word
Yeah.
for the year.
Um, so about a week ago, I was approaching something in my life from a really cranky, almost mean place. I don't even remember what it was. And I recognized that one of my default ways of almost a defensive mode was meanness. Okay. So Now, most times I stop the meanness and pull back and go, wait a minute, what are you doing? Where is this even coming from? And there are places I can point to in my chart, but I realized with as big a word as presence, and then simplicity might be a challenge as well. I think I needed kindness.
Mm.
So kindness is my third word, and self kindness. And of course, self kindness will then spread to kindness to others. I mean, you can't help it.
Yeah.
Um, I actually have the only line four I have in my whole chart, including my star pearl chart, is in my EQ, and it is called kindness and meanness. So I guess
Really?
in a way it's the line four that's calling me out on this. And of course, if you're defensive and if you're emotional, that's the first place. The EQ is the first place that gets pinged, right? So yeah, so kindness does come from my chart, but I think it can also just be a general kindness. And it's gentleness is one of the pillars of the
Yeah.
gene keys anyway. And why not bring that into all the work that I do? So I love that we have creative play and we have kindness, we have
Yeah.
simplicity. And I'm talking about you and me because
Yeah.
I am going to benefit from your stillness and your acceptance, and you're going to benefit from my presence and my whatever simplicity brings to me,
Yeah.
and we can all do it with kindness and playful creativity. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. I feel like because of this partnership that we've got, our words are kind of like this. Again, we've talked about it before, like this third energy that's there
Yes.
in between, this
Yes.
entity that's there that is like, because I know, I mean, one of the reasons that creativity popped into my head was actually because of something that you spoke about, because you were talking about we were talking about something in Voxer, and you were talking about um different things that you had going on, your art journal projects and your 40 days and all these different things that were going on. And these other ideas that you'd had for articles for the website. And you said, yeah, but I can just put that in one of my creative cauldrons. And that can just, and like it was like I had this image of you with all these creativity cauldrons around you where you just pop, oh yeah, there's an idea for a tiny transformations article. I'll just pop that in there and it can just bubble away in that creativity cauldron. And I thought, I want creativity cauldrons. I want, because, you have these, well, we have these ideas and we'll say things when things will just come out when we're voxing each other. And I think, oh, I could write an article about that, or, oh, we could
Yeah.
do something with that. So I just really loved that image that you planted in my brain of having all these cauldrons with your creativity for different things bubbling away. And that was where my
Yeah.
word came for creativity came from.
I
So yeah,
love
we
it.
definitely um, you know, yes, we've picked three words each, but really we as a partnership, we've now got six words
Six
that we can
words.
tap into,
Yeah.
which is just amazing.
Another element that has come out with our words is that we want to travel with dream arc animals. Okay.
Yes.
So I have put a link to the dream arc in the show notes for anyone who doesn't know what the dream arc is. But as Lizzie said, it is a companion program uh, to the Gene Keys, and we both own the course. And I've been through the course since it many times since it came out. And so now it's as if the dream arc itself always travels with me. Okay. Now, you've already talked about one of the dream arc animals that you're traveling with, the salmon, right?
Yes.
Tell
Yeah.
me about what your other dream arc animals are, and then I'll tell my story.
Okay. So acceptance, I'm going with the dream arc animal for that gift of acceptance, which is the lion. Um, so the lion I mean, I don't know as much about the dream arc as you, but for me, the lion just feels very sort of protective, and it's just like a very sort of, it feels like it's going to be like quite a solid energy that's there. Just, I don't know that I mean, I may end up diving into the lion more and understanding more about it, but it feels like at the moment, like it's just kind of taking care of me
Mhm.
and reminding me, because it's in the dream arc, it's called that loving self-acceptance, that it's just reminding me to lovingly accept myself, that to bring love into the acceptance, and that will stop me from feeling like the acceptance has to be that resignation that I spoke about, of just
Mhm.
accepting my fate, that the lion is just bringing a lot more loving energy to it. So the lion is there. I've got the lion there just kind of in the background, but the salmon obviously just feels very present. It was like the salmon just leapt into my consciousness, because of the oracle card that you had made me for the 25th shadow. And I have actually got a salmon pendant, which I is like my kind of talisman for the year, which I commissioned a silversmith that I know. I gave her a very loose brief and said, and I told her a little bit about, I gave her a little excerpt from the salmon in the dream arc, and a little bit about, because the salmon is quite an important sort of character in Celtic mythology. So
Yeah.
it's got a Celtic Triscala, the three spirals, and this gorgeous turquoise salmon. Um, so I've got the salmon and I've got the lion. I'm pointing over here because it's on my desktop of my laptop as my lion is sitting there looking at me. Um, and I wasn't sure which animal, because I'm getting more into using the dream arc because I can see how powerful it is to have that sort of energy, um, just to kind of hook into. But as I said, there's no gene key that is creativity. So I wasn't sure, what dream arc animal would work. But then when we got to the end of Devoted and I was looking at my Pearl gene key, which is 51, and the weasel, which is the dream arc animal for the gift of initiative. And initiative is all about creativity. It's all about making something new. It's all about, um, you know, walking your own path, walking that virgin path, making the path for yourself. And it's very creative energy. So I've now got this idea of this weasel, and I can't help but imagine the weasel from the Oracle deck you made me, which is like a Harry Potter weasel. It's got a little magic wand, you know, to stir up my creativity. So
Yeah.
those are the three main animals, and I also have felt a bit of a pull towards the moose, because I was feeling like I needed some sort of structure around it,
Mm.
something a bit
Right.
more
Right.
structured around it. And I actually, because I don't know all the animals and I don't know the dream arc the way you know the dream arc, because you've done such a lot of work with it, and it's all quite new to me. So I actually decided to look at the hexagrams.
Yes.
So I want, because I thought I want to get some masculine energy. So I was looking at, as a kind of vessel to hold all this, what feels quite feminine, the stillness, the creativity, the acceptance.
Sure.
feel quite feminine energies to me, and I thought it'd be quite nice to have a more masculine structure. And I literally I picked Jinky 43 because of the hexagram, because it's got like 5 yang lines, and then saw it was the moose and just thought, yeah, I don't know why, but the moose just feels right. The moose feels very grounded, and there's a lovely bit in the, I can't remember the exact wording, but in the dream art for the moose, it talks about how its antlers are like trees
Oh, yes.
growing out of the earth, and I thought that's very solid and grounded and rooted, and yeah. So I'm not quite sure how the moose is going to come in, but the moose is kind of hanging out there with the lion at the moment.
I love it.
Yeah.
Mm. So when I chose simplicity as my word, all of a sudden the magpie just came front and center and said, "It's me. I'm
Yeah.
your guide." And the magpie is the vision of alchemical reward, which is the city for Jinky 23. Now, I was still finishing my 40-day journey at this point. And in my 40-day journey, spiritual journey, which you can find on our website if all of you or anybody who is new and hasn't heard of this, um, I traveled actually with 12 dream arc animals, which is not part of the course. I don't necessarily recommend it for beginners, but I wanted a dream arc animal from each of the categories of the dream arc. So, and there are 12 categories. And it was an experiment, and it was play, and it was just plain fun. And I ended up loving it. I ended up loving with traveling with these creatures, and each one of them had a message for me by the end of the 40 days, And so I thought, what if I had so much fun with it? What if I chose another 12 animals and this time I get a whole year or 16 months or however long with all of these animals, right? And so that's what I did. And it has taken me now quite a while to sort through which animals want to travel with me because let's say you get like Gene Key 34, which is my life's work. It has a dreamer as the um, shadow creature. It has a guardian as the Siddhic creature, and then a healer as the gift creature. So
Oh.
there are three different categories right there. So let's say I really, really want that 32 energy or 23 energy, and I've already picked the magpie. Okay, the magpie is the trickster, so I don't get another trickster, right? This is the trickster. So it was getting it was making me laugh because at first it seemed like it was moving in the shadow of 23 and becoming very complex. By choosing
Yeah.
12 creatures, one in each category, with the energies that I wanted for the next year, seemed like it was becoming complex, which is, of course, the shadow of the word that I had chosen, of simplicity. But I just heard Richard talk about the difference between complexity and intricacy.
Mm.
So the more you open your heart, and of course, that's pretty much why we've been doing the Gene Keys. What we've been doing for this whole last 3 years is fully open, more and more. I can't say it's full, more and more opening our hearts, the more you actually can see of the intricacy of the universe and of the cosmic order, right? Which is different than the complexity. So
Yeah.
by choosing these 12 animals, I'm tapping into intricacy instead of complexity. And so I just, over time, I just let them sort themselves out. The next one that came forward, I already had the magpie, the trickster. Next one that came forward is my guardian, and it's the emu, and that's my life's work. So it's like, boom, there it goes. And then from then on, other ones were real firm yeses in each of the categories, and other ones I had to just keep looking, feeling them out. Some got replaced. Just recently I replaced the changer because like I said at the beginning, I felt like I'm still all mushy. So I needed a
Yeah.
creature that had a cocoon or that was molting or that was changing. That just felt like an energy I needed. So I chose the dragonfly. In 40 days, I had a caterpillar. This time I chose the dragonfly. So I'm not going to go through all of my animals, but suffice it to say that, this is another intricacy, not a complexity, but the words that I chose, the simplicity and presence, actually are connected by the codon ring of life and death. That's why they go so beautifully together. Okay. There are other gene keys in that, and I have a few animals that represent them. But so they have this codon ring that unites them. When the emu wanted to come in, I recognized that I also had the programming partners. I'm working with presence, and then the emu comes in with wanting to be there, and they're programming partners. Well,
Ah,
then the programming partner of 23 is 43, which is actually in the codon ring of 34 and 43, which is the codon ring of destiny. And they're the only two in it. So these all these energies are connecting in an intricate way. And I am not going to complexify it by trying to analyze it. I'm just
yeah.
going to let them stay connected and just see what comes of it. Let the mystery unfold. But I just, my little mind is sitting there going, that's really cool that these are all linked these ways. So, but what's really essential is the energy behind each of these and the intent behind each of these, not that they're connected in all these different ways. That's just fun. That's, let that be play. Yeah. So,
I love that.
yeah.
That's just, as you were talking, I was just thinking about, when you first download your chart. Well, for me, I was completely new to the gene key, didn't know anything about a gene keys, nothing at all. And I got this chart, and it looked really complicated.
Yes.
It
Yes.
looked so complex, and I was watching Haley talking about gene keys, and I was thinking, how is she remembering all this stuff? It's so complicated. And even when I first started working with her, and she would say things about, oh well, I can see, that's your EQ, or that's your IQ, or oh yeah, we'll look at that when we come to your core wound. And I was thinking, this is so complicated. This is just like, how does she know all this stuff? And like listening to you as well when first getting to know you. And it did seem really complex. But now I look at my chart and it doesn't look complex at all. It looks intricate. I'm so glad that you told me about this, because you told me about this the other day, about
Yeah.
complexity and intricacy and the difference between them. And it was a bit of a light bulb moment for me as
Yeah.
well, because it was like, that's what my chart is. That's what I'm seeing when I get those moments where I see the holographic nature of my chart, and how all of my gene keys are connected, and how the lines are connected. And I'm seeing the intricacy of it, and I don't see the complexity. And it
Yeah.
doesn't seem complex to me at all. It seems really simple,
Yeah.
intricate, fascinating pattern with these golden threads going all over the place, but actually really simple
Yeah.
when you boil it all down.
Yeah.
So and I was seeing that as you were talking about,
Yeah.
choosing 12 animals. It's like your chart,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Richard uses the word nuance. The more open our hearts become, the more we are able to find the nuances in our lives and those
Yeah.
intricate, and they are intricate. It was in relationship to this intricacy piece when he talked about that. But yeah. So I started out thinking about myself as this mushy creature, but in truth, I have somewhat made some decisions and definitions for
Mm.
this next adventure, whether it's a year or the whole 16 months or what, because we start on Tuesday in the
Yes.
Sage's Golden Path journey. So yeah, and I think of the words and the animals all as allies. They're 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 there to help me. They're not there to
Yeah.
confuse me. They're not there to even challenge me. Even though presence is my evolution, it's not there to challenge me. It's there to invite me on this
Yeah.
adventure, invite
Yeah.
me into something even more delicious. And it'll be there with me. When I hear someone say, when they first get their chart and they look at their shadows and they say, oh my God, I have the shadow of dominance. No, I don't. Blah, blah, blah. Or, I have the shadow of conflict. Ah, I just want to say, oh my God, but that means you have the superpower of synergy. If you have dominance, your superpower is synergy. Oh my God, if you have conflict, your superpower is diplomacy. Oh, you are so lucky to have that, you know? And
Yeah.
I guess that's in the way what I'm thinking about with the presence. I'm so freaking lucky, even though it's in that position of challenge. I'm so lucky that I have self awareness and self assurance as my superpower. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I know you feel the same way about yours.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I know that there's loads of my shadows that made me go, oh my God, no. My purpose shadow of inadequacy was like, man, I don't want to have that in my chart. It's been really fucking hard. My whole life I've been battling with this and I don't want to have to look at it. But actually now it's like, I have that, but that means I've got my resourcefulness, I've got my magical backpack, I've got wisdom, I've got the void inside me, which means I've got everything. I've got everything I could ever need. So yeah, it's it's a gift. And that is the thing that Richard always says, isn't it? And it's like one of the main messages of the Gene Keys is every shadow contains a gift.
That's right.
There's seeds inside every shadow. So even if they do look scary or complicated, they are just they're full of goodness. They're
They
just
are.
full of
They are.
goodness. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. So, for
Well, I
all of
look
our.
forward to hearing more about your 12 animals, Megan.
Oh,
You'll have to
yes.
keep
Yeah.
sharing them with
I
us.
will. I will. Probably through art journal pages,
Yes.
since that's what I did before. We'll see. Um, so, all of you new viewers, the last thing we do on our podcasts or our videos is to ask each other a whimsical question. So, did you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
Oh, you go first.
Okay. All right. So it's about 15 years down the line from now,
Okay.
Lizzie. About 15 years, and you are really, really well known for something. You are almost famous for something.
Oh,
What is that something?
um, it has to be being an author. It has to be being a writer, because that's been my dream. That's been my dream since I was a little girl, to write books. Because books were my favorite companions when I was a child. You know, and the library. was my favorite because we weren't very well off. And the library was like my favorite place because it just was full of books. So it would be, if I wouldn't even need to be famous on the world stage, but if I could go into a library and see my name on the spine of a book in a library, oh, that would make me
Nice.
really, really happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What about you?
I think I would like to be known for inspirational art and a style that's really inspiring to people, even children's books. I think children's books would be fun to illustrate, to be
Yeah,
known for
yeah,
maybe even just one children's book or two, maybe a series of three, and maybe on Oracle cards. Who knows? The art might be on there. Oh,
yeah.
the Oracle card deck market is so saturated, but still, I love
Yeah.
making kind of thing. But it's my own original art that is inspirational to others. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I actually can see in our future me writing a book and you illustrating it.
Uh, you
At
know what?
least one.
You know the other thing that popped up in my mind when I thought of this question? You and I are on TED Talk.
Ah, okay.
I know, right? It is 15 years down the line. I'll be
Yeah.
doddering out there with my cane.
Yeah.
What would I be, 85?
Oh, oh. What will I be? I'll be 78, 77, 78. Excellent, excellent. Oh, what a great question. Well, I'm actually going to change my mind. I had a question set up for you I'd been thinking about all week. But actually, I was journaling about something this morning. I'm going to get my journals just so I can remember it. So I was journaling about something this morning. And I was in, as I say, I've been spending a lot of time in my Pearl Gene Key 51. And there's this thing. Now I'm not exactly sure if Richard says this or Haley Haley said this, or whether this is Haley interpreting Richard's words, because it was in the original workbook she had given me. And it is that the gene keys don't even offer you a way, they are a mirror so that you can find your own way. So I was journaling about that this morning, about how my gene keys are a mirror. And I had this image of, I was looking at the mirror and I thought, my Gene Keys mirror is made of water. I
Mm.
have a lot of water in my chart, I'm Cancerian as well, but a lot of like my dream arc animals are very watery. And I just had this whole vision of my Gene Keys mirror as being made of water that I can dive into and you know, dive down and find the pearls, find the oysters and find the pearls. So my question to you is, if your gene keys are a mirror, what is that mirror made of?
Um, that's so funny. Uh, as soon as you said mirror, I thought of a series of um, images that I created last year when I was in my purpose key, and it was a mirror, a wood which had a beautiful wooden. It was probably, I think it was oval. I think I asked it. This was through AI, by the way. So I asked the mirror to be oval, but I set it in the frickin' forest. So there's this oval mirror set in the forest, right? And the series of images that I had were a dog and a cat because my radiance has the cat as the animal and my purpose has the dog. And so the mirror, you would see the dog over here, but then you'd see a cat in the mirror. Or the cat
Ah,
would be sitting here and the dog was in the mirror. Or the dog was golden and then the dog in the mirror was black. And so it was a magical mirror. obviously, because it's seeing
obviously.
not the actual image, but another one. So it was set, but it was set in a mossy environment with logs and trees and all of this, and it did have a wooden frame. So that's what came to me when you said that. Um,
Um,
the commonsensical part of me goes, well, fire would be better. But the commonsensical part of me goes, how do you have a mirror of fire? And then the other commonsensical part of me is, well, you have water too. It could be water. And no, what came up was that a mirror made of wood that's
in
magical
the
sitting in the
forest.
forest. So there
Oh,
you go.
oh, that's brilliant. Do you know, it just reminded me, I can't remember her name. There's a photographer who she did a whole series of photographs where she was sitting like in the woods or in a meadow, and she was holding a wooden mirror in front of herself so that it looked so you could see her head above it and her arms and her legs, but her body was the mirror of the forest
Oh,
that
cool.
she was sitting there. I must see if I can find them and
Oh,
share those
yeah.
images with
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
because that just popped into my head then that like
Yeah.
the mirror was mirroring the forest around you.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Excellent. Hi.
Wow.
It's gotten
Another.
completely dark here. You are in
No,
the
it's
morning
getting lighter here.
and I'm in the UK and it's dark and you can just see my face floating in the darkness here.
And I'm in Idaho, USA. So, and we're just getting our day started. So, yeah. I want to thank all of you for witnessing our very first public video. Public
Yeah.
video. Although all of our 15 other episodes are public on our website, but this is
Yeah.
public as in available for a search on YouTube. So thank you
Wow.
all for being here for episode 1. Yeah. And I would love to hear if anyone wants to write anything in the comments, what words you might be bringing in, what kind of energy you might be bringing in. Maybe it's not words. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it is an animal that's not even attached to the dream arc, Doesn't have to be. It's your inner guidance. What do you want to carry into this next year? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That would be lovely. Yeah. Oh,
Thank you, everybody, and
yes.
bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.